Ushiboi is the most Pride and Prejudice coded pairing in all of anime. I've written several dissertations, and by that I mean Twitter threads.
So hello everybody, I am the Amanda Rogers and welcome back to another episode of Fandom Friends. Today I'm really excited to have my good friend Amber, or Amburrito, or spicyamburrito on TikTok. Hello, my love.
Hello.
First of all, I want to thank you for being on with me today. I'm so excited to have you, and being the first episode of the new year, I was like, oh, you know who we should kick off the new year with? Amber. Amber, I'm so excited. And I dressed for the occasion. You know, I have my Haikyuu shirt
I dressed
on.
in your occasion of MHA.
Stop.
I know it's very romantic of me. I was like, let me wear my singular MHA merch that I own for this.
First of all, we want to start off with a quick rapid fire character sheet for Amburrito.
Okay.
So what are some of your nicknames?
Ooh, generally Amburrito is probably most, and that's usually what I go by because that's been my handle on all of my social media since I was like 14 or 15, and so it just kind of it bled into what I use for like fandom, but like on all of my personals it's always been spicy Amburrito. So other than Amber, it's almost exclusively like Amburrito, but usually it's just online. Like people in person would just call me Amber. So I would say Amburrito is probably the only one that I would say is like consistent.
We love a consistent nickname.
I have brand consistency. Everything I do has Amburrito in there somewhere.
That's how I'm stuck with the Amanda Rogers. I did it when I was 14, and I was like, make my Twitter handle, and I was like, I am the Amanda Rogers. Like, I was like, I am that bitch. And and now it's just the entire thing. What is your go-to snack?
Ooh, okay. Big fan of popcorn and like any variation of like fun flavoring you could do with popcorn. And so is my partner. So we like to buy fancy popcorns, and then we like to just like add any kind of seasonings. Like we'll go to Trader Joe's and get like a bunch of like the little fun seasonings they have, put them on the popcorn. So usually I will snack on those because I like always have like a giant Costco box of popcorn in the house.
As you should. And then what is a special talent of yours?
Okay. A serious talent, I think, would be the obvious that I draw. And I felt like even as a child, like I always had like a bit of like a talent for it before I started taking classes. And then on a non-serious note, I can fit my entire fist in my mouth.
I won't ask you to do it right now, but another day, perhaps. Listen.
I'll send you a calendar invite. It's okay.
What is your current brain rot?
Ooh. Oh, to pick just one?
You can have multiple.
Okay. Yeah, there are a couple. I will say I am back on the early 2000s reality show like kick, in which I'm rewatching them from like start to finish. So that's like all the Rock of Loves, the Flavor of Loves, the Charm Schools,
Yes.
the America's Next Top Model, like anything like as garbage and trashy as it comes. I've just been like addicted to it, having it in the background, like going to my friends and watching it. I'm watching like compilations on YouTube as though it's like 2010. Like I'm pulling them up on YouTube and I'm just watching like funniest clips from Wendy Williams. And I don't know what it is. It's like taken over. It's like all I want to watch, I think, because it's like such a low brain activity for me to do. Especially when I'm drawing, I have to have like, I can't have anything engaging on in the background at all. It has to be like completely brain dead. So that's like a really good one. So I've been doing that. And then I think that's got to be like the strongest one because like I keep making references to it as well. For my friends for Christmas, I made a bunch of stickers. Like I designed a bunch of stickers based off like early 2000s reality shows and memes and stuff, like New York from Flavor of Love, and it's consuming me right now. I go through this every couple of years. I just came off of like a really intense Haikyuu obsession. Obviously, I still love Haikyuu, but over like I would say like over the summer of 2022. You couldn't tell me, I couldn't talk about anything else. I really couldn't. That was like the peak of what I was discussing at all times. So yeah. I oscillate. It's either anime or it's reality shows, honestly.
Yeah. I love that. I love garbage reality shows. I love them. Oh, They're so funny. Like, you're just like, people live like this. Like it.
That was, I feel like, America's like, that was our like main character moment in TV, where it's like, where else could you find this many people who are willing to act like this? Only here. I feel a sense of patriotism personally.
Yes.
Like, this is so us.
That's the America I know. It's Jersey Shore.
Yes.
It's like I did that a couple years ago where I rewatched all of the Real Worlds, like the earliest that I could find, and just rewatched all of them. I eat that stuff up. Oh, and then the challenge and stuff. Oh, it's just
on
so
occasion
good.
I'll like rewatch Survivor, which I feel like is the tamest, ironically, type of reality show, but sometimes it gets messy, and that's why I like it, because they're so like, they're like composed a lot of the time, because they're like, oh, we're here, it's serious, we're surviving, but then sometimes they get messy. Like the girls will start fighting and I'm like, this is what I want. I want
the little
this
gems
in the jungle. Yeah, I want them arguing in the jungle. So sometimes I'll do Survivor as well.
Last one for the character sheet. What are your top 3 ships? It doesn't have to be from Haikyuu, but I know that's where
they will be. They will be from Haikyuu, actually. I'll throw in a non-Haikyuu one so that you can get like the base of who I am and how it frames every other ship I look at. So the core ship that does define me as a person is Zutara, with Zuko and Katara from Avatar. OTP. Yeah. That's the reason that one is so important to me, is because I was like 11 years old, and that's the first time literally ever I was watching something and I like shipped something. I didn't know at the time that's what that was, you know what I mean? It wasn't until like I was like, it's like in high school that I was like, oh, that's what that is, where you just really want two characters to be together, especially ones that don't end up together, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So that was the first time I ever like went on DeviantArt and was looking up like fan art of those two. I was like, I gotta get more content of these two. It can't just be in my mind palace. I gotta see other things. Like, so I'm like desperately and feverishly on DeviantArt looking for these two. So Zutara, very important to me. I've read some transformative works about those that are so good. So Zutara, we'll put that as number 1 as the constant, because other things change, but they remain the same. And then the next one is Ushi Oi from Haikyuu, so Ushijima Oikawa. Anybody who is friends with me or follows me on any platform knows that this is like my number 1 Haikyuu ship. There is, and the reason for that is also because I'm a Pride and Prejudice girly, and Ushi Oi is the most Pride and Prejudice coded pairing in all of anime. If you think about it, I've written several dissertations, and by that I mean Twitter threads, in which I go immense detail on why they are the Pride and Prejudice couple, and people back me up on this. Okay, I've gotten many comments, many conversations where people are like, you were so fucking right. And I'm like, I know, I'm fucking right, because I think there is a tendency to say that Iwa Oi is the Pride and Prejudice group, which I love them dearly. I love them very dearly. I have printed out my favorite fics of Iwa Oi, so this is not Iwa Oi. They are dear to my heart. However, no, it's Ushi Oi. It's Ushi Oi. Anyway, so that's probably my actual number 1, because they are the ones that I like am thinking about and reading about all the time. I don't draw them as much, but I am thinking about them all the time. Please let it be known. If I have one thought, it's Ushi Oi. If I have no thought, I'm dead and thinking of Ushi Oi in hell. So what would be a third one? I'm trying to think of like, I feel like the third spot, that's what fluctuates the most. It's always Utara and it's always Ushi Oi. And then this third spot, that's for like the ship du jour, the ship of the week, the very flavorful ship that I'm into recently. And
ooh, I like that.
That's the one that, so for a long time, that one was Kuroo and Daichi. You'll see that these hinge around Kuroo a lot. Kurosuki. I find that Kuroo Asa, which is one that my partner really likes, which is Asahi and Kuroo. That's like his little crack ship that he made and has dedicated his life to. So I will say that the third one is Kuroo, and whoever feels most flavorful for the week is the go-to. And I do find that I tend to actually draw a lot for whatever Kuroo ship it is that I'm into, especially like Patreon, I think, because he's so shippable and people love him so much dearly as a character that I end up drawing him a lot.
It's the revolving door of Kuroo ships.
Yeah, he's just like, he's charismatic, he's charming, he's cute, and then there's just like this revolving amount of characters that just get paired that I'm like, yeah, I like that.
What would you say is your start to your like nerddom, like where you were like, oh, there's there's no return from this.
Yeah. I would say, okay, so it's kind of twofold. I would say like the first time I ever like loved an anime was Sailor Moon as a child, but as a child I had no concept of it as anime. It was just a cartoon to me, you know what I mean? So the first time that I ever like really got into an anime or into a manga was Inuyasha in like 2005. I was like 11, and it came on the TV. It was like late at night. I was up well past my bedtime. It was like 11 p.m. And serendipitously, the very first episode of Inuyasha came on Adult Swim. I was like immediately in trance. I was like, what the fuck is this? I've never seen anything like this. And it just started this like really feverish obsession. So that specific show like consumed me and what would become my friend group in middle school, in which we all were just absolutely obsessed. And this was like peak Inuyasha time. You had to be there. I literally never recommend that people go back and watch that because I just it's difficult. But the nostalgia view that I have, like I can go back and watch it and be like, this is amazing. For someone who's never seen it, I'm like, okay, have some grace. Have some grace when you watch this. But that show consumed me for the entirety of middle school. I loved everything about it. Had so much merch, so much stuff. So that kind of started me then watching other animes and like actively seeking them out because they were anime rather than just conceiving of them as a cartoon. So that would be the start of it, and then it never ended. Looking back, right, I see patterns about myself. One, always in love with the wolf boy because Koga, that's my husband, right? From day one, I was like, Kagome, you fucking idiot. He is in love with you. He's Koga. And then when I got into Naruto, as we all did, shortly after Inuyasha, I was like, Kiba, my husband. And then during Kiba is my fucking husband. And then because I'm like, my favorite thing about Naruto and why that one got me so hard is because the characters were my age, right? So like I'm into it when I'm 12 years old. The characters are 12, 13. So I'm like, this was made for me. So I was in love with Kiba, Koga, and then when Twilight came around, you can guess what team I was on there. If there was a wolf boy, I was like lasered in on that bitch. I was like, that's my man. That's my fucking man. And it continues to this day.
The wolf boys are always they're so good. There's flavor there.
They're cheeky. They're cheeky.
Yes. I have my little Kiba here. I love him.
I got a Kiba. Oh, that is so cute.
I do. I have my little chibi Naruto boys. I got all but Sasuke because I hate Sasuke, but I have my little Kiba.
I'm neutral on Sasuke. I have no feeling for him. I'm a Kiba and Shikamaru Gwirly. That's my dichotomy of two men that I am in love with for 2+ decades. Like it went from Inuyasha directly to Naruto, and like this period for me was feverish, sweaty, stinky, ugly. So I was in middle school.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And that's encapsulates middle school so well.
Yeah. Like, it was incredibly intense.
It's a sticky time.
You had to be there. You had to be there.
You had to be there. With your art, I have to say that obviously, I love your art so much. You are just so, I love it. Every time I see like one of your pieces, it's like such a breath of fresh air because they're always you bring your energy into your art so well. It's always like so upbeat, it's fun, it's colorful, it's got spicy to it a lot of times, and I love that. But it always makes me smile, and I know it makes so many people do the same. Like I adore you as an artist, your art, you as a person, obviously, because hello. We love Amburrito here. We stand Amburrito in this house, okay? What kind of got you started with art, like exploring art as like your thing? I know you said you kind of did it a little bit when you were a kid. Where did you kind of start exploring that?
I've always been drawn to art. It's always been my favorite subject, my favorite activity from the time that I was like very young. Like I remember, it's kind of funny. I had found this like workbook journal from when I was in like the 1st or 2nd grade. And we had this journal in class where we would, they would give us like a vocabulary word. We're obviously learning to like write and be literate. And so they give us a vocabulary word. We'd have to write a sentence with it. And then we got to draw a picture to go along with it. We got to draw the little scene from the sentence. And it was graded, and it had notes from my teacher for my parents in there. And on the back, she wrote, I think that Amber rushes through the writing so that she can draw the picture. It was accurate. I was like, yes, that's exactly what I'm doing. So like from a very early age, I was just like, I literally don't care about anything else except for drawing. That's the only thing I wanted to do. So even though I did that, I didn't actually end up taking a lot of art classes because I had like this very annoying trait about me that I really hated drawing what other people told me to draw. And so I found art classes like very difficult and frustrating because I am a very impatient person, and I didn't like having to go through like being told what to draw and how to draw it and doing the back and forth and the feedback, even though it isn't immensely helpful. So I've only taken three art classes. I've taken 3 art classes in my whole life, and they were all incredibly transformational for my skill level, which is very frustrating for me because like I know they're very helpful, even though I really hate them. So I took one in middle school, one in high school, and then one my freshman year of college. And each of them was like so helpful. But yeah, so the majority of what I've done has been mostly self-taught with like little kind of a couple of classes in between that were really helpful.
The feedback does help a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. And I know you have like your Patreon too, where you can get feedback from your patrons, which is awesome. I know a lot of people do like where the patrons can like request things. Do you do that too? Do you find that difficult?
I don't find that one as difficult, especially because like the Patreon is completely themed around like fan art and anime. Most people that follow me for Haikyuu, and that's usually what they request. So it's not like a frustrating experience at all because I'm like asking them to give me that feedback, and sometimes I'll ask them more so like the type of media they want to see. So like for Christmas time, like last year, so not the Christmas that just passed, but the one before that, I had done like a series of like phone backgrounds for them so that you could put iPhone, iPad, stuff like that. And so then this year I'm like, okay, what do you want to see? Do you want to see like the phone iPads? Do you want to see more sticker designs? Do you want to see more spicy? And then they vote on it because you can do polls. So I'll get feedback from them like that. And then if they want to see like ship art, I'll let them either vote, like I'll give them options, or I just let them like freely put in the comments like what they want to see, and then I'll just take a list of what they've written and then fulfill them out that way. But because it's always like content that I enjoy, it doesn't quite feel the same. It's not like restrictive the way that I feel when I'm in an art class. It's like super different. And then also they're like paying to be there, so like there's way more incentive for me to be like absolutely you spent your coins.
What do you feel like is your identifier or your calling card in your art pieces?
Oh my god. I feel like that's like the crisis that most artists have. They're like, I feel like I don't have like a defined style. Like I feel like when I am going through my like Procreate files, I'm like, this all looks different. None of this looks the same. But I think all artists think like that, because when other people say that, I'm like, I could literally tell if it was your art. Like if you just give me like unwatermarked art, I'd be like, yes, it's yours. So I'm sure people probably feel that way about mine, but I couldn't feel that way about my own. So I think that use of color might be kind of significant to mine, especially some of like the series that I've done in the past, like the Yakuza art that I've done, and like a lot of the Wild West series. So a lot of the series that I've done, I feel like those are stylistically different enough that I feel like they would be noticeably mine, especially like with using the colors that I've used in there. So I think that's probably something that is more noticeable, because they're like very bright colors, like much brighter than most people would generally use. And sometimes I'll do stylized stuff with like the skin tones. So like the skin tones are like an unnatural color, like blue or purple, or they'll be like red or something like that, which you don't see as much. So I would say probably that one. Oh, you probably have to tell me, because I feel like most artists are very dysmorphic about their own art, and they can't see traits that other people can.
Yeah, that's understandable. I do remember your Yakuza series with the different colored skin tones, like the blues and purples and stuff. I loved that so much. I remember that like coming up on my TikTok feed, and I was just like, Amber's like, I love that, because I would never think to do that, I don't think, until like you have to really be open and fluid with your art to be able to like be open to those types of different things.
And it's not everybody's cup of tea either. Like not funny like that. I would get, specifically when I would do like the blue and the purples, I feel like the orange and the reds and the pinks people were more receptive to, because they're like, okay, that's like adjacent to human colors. But one of the more popular ones that I did was of Matsukawa, and his was purple. Oh my god, these bitches in the comments were like, why is he purple? I'm like, why do you think? Use your head. Is this perhaps a stylistic choice? Same thing for Oikawa. I did his in blue because of course it's Oikawa, so I did it in like a teal blue, and they were like, why is he blue? I'm like, why? Get out of here.
No, it makes sense for Oikawa to be blue too, because like
That's what I'm saying.
Alba
But
Joy's art, like
anyway,
hello,
so
but okay.
that's just part of the process of posting your creative works online. I'm sure that you are very familiar, that people will question why you have made decisions that are very low stakes and honestly do not affect them in any negative way. So it's like, why do you need to know?
And then, so what is your favorite piece that you've done so far, or I guess a series maybe? What if you had to pick one to be like, this is my ode to Amburrito art, what is it?
Okay, I'll pick one, even though that I feel like I can't, but there's a piece that I did for a zine. It's a free digital zine. And it was called Haikyuu Memory Lane. So I don't know if you saw this zine. I think it's still digitally available. Again, it was free for just PDF downloads. Everybody who participated in it was free, and it was for all people to participate in. So there was no like selection process. If you applied, you got to be part of it. Anyways, the theme of this zine was like Haikyuu characters in their golden years, and like looking back on down memory lane, a really wholesome kind of theme. So you didn't have to do ship art. You could just do team members, you could do friendships, you could do individual, you could do ship art. And I knew that I wanted to do like a very comfy, cozy, domestic kind of scene, like something that just felt really warm and toasty. That was the vibe I wanted to go for. And in my mind, a very domestic and warm and toasty ship is Osaaka, so Osamu and Akashi. To me, those two, domestic. There's just something so domestic about them. So I was like, okay, that's what I'm going to do. So the piece that I did is them like in their golden years. Like the whole story that I kind of put behind it is like, they're in their golden years. They have since like sold the restaurant, right? And they're in their kitchen and they're making like just like a dinner for themselves, and they're slow dancing in the kitchen. And this one, I mean, it took me probably like 8 or 10 hours to do, because the background is really detailed. So I went like really ham on like the background details, all the little items, the lighting that's on the items. It's got kind of like an illustrative kind of comic book quality to it, because it's a little bit scratchier like in all the line work. I really liked it. It's one of my favorite ones that I've done. I feel like it just has like an ambiance to it that is really obvious. And I also did a lot of it on TikTok live, so a lot of people got to like, be there with me, and I was working on it because it took me so long. So I was just like doing it on live so I could really like focus on it. I think that's one of my favorite pieces, just for like the everything about it. But there's so many other ones that I think I really like too.
That is so cute. If I find or if you have the link you send it to me, I will link it below so everyone can check that out. That'd be so, oh, I want to see it. What is your favorite thing about the online community that you've built?
Ooh, okay. I think, okay, so for me, I have like a lot of artists within my community, like friends that I've made who also just love to make like fan art. And so I've made some of my closest friends through that community. And so I think my favorite thing about that is that it's a completely non-competitive group of people. We're really just here because we really like making this art, whether we're doing it for fun, whether we're selling it. And like the feedback that I've gotten from them, and some of like just the help I've gotten from them, or just the like assurance, like just reassuring each other, no, your art is not shit. Yeah, it looks good. People don't hate it. That kind of thing, that like if you make any kind of content, you generally like will spiral down and be like, actually, this is the worst thing that's ever existed. And they're like, no. So like in 2021, I like joined this like community of people who were doing animations, doing art, doing either traditional digital art, and it was all like centered around like fan art essentially. And these people have become like my closest friends. So I visited them like 3 times last year. I'm seeing them again next month. I am inviting them to my wedding. Like they are like bestie status. And so I'm just really happy that I got to meet them. And I think that was very like it was hinged on being part of like an online fandom community, you know?
Mhm.
So without like the fandom, the friendships would not be there. And I think, you know, it's like real friendship when you also can talk about things outside of fandom. So like when you actually have things like in common, like the fandom is like what starts the friendship, but the actual lasting friendships come from when like you have overlapping interests and like
Mm.
similarities that aren't just based in that. Because I'm sure you've probably also experienced like there's people that you really, really like and like they're super nice, but like when you meet up with them or you talk to them, you're like, we really seems like we really can't talk about anything except for fandom. It seems like there isn't really anything connecting us past this. But with this group that I'm friends with now, like we can talk about anything. We can talk about personal things. We can talk about other interests, things that have nothing to do with art. And like we're still, it's like we're always connected and like always on the same wavelength. So that has been my favorite part about the community that I've built is that they can be real life actual friends. And it
Yeah.
feels like I just met them at a job or at school or somewhere, you know what I mean? It feels like I could have met them anywhere. You would never be like, oh, this is somebody I met on the internet and it's obvious, you know?
Yeah. I love seeing like groups of friendship come together because I'm like on the outskirts watching all of them, like, look at everybody joining together. I love it so much. It makes me so happy. So within this community that you've built, is there anything that you want to make sure that you're promoting or uplifting within like your platform?
Mm. I would say I always try to keep like my own platforms rather positive when it comes to different shows, different ships, different anything like in related to like things that people tend to be really passionate and happy about. I try not to ever publicly talk shit about like anything that I might not like because at the end of the day, like we're here for fun and it is simply not that serious and it's never going to be that serious. What was it not? It was never that serious. So like, because sometimes, you know, you'll see tweets, you'll see TikToks and they're like, if you like this thing, you're such a weirdo because it's like a rare pair, not a main pair. You know what I mean? It's like something so stupid. It's like you like Kuroo with Taichi, not Kuroo with Kenma, and it's the end of the world. I'm like, truly, it is not that serious. So I just try to always make like my platforms on each social media be like very welcoming, which I think people can tell because I draw all kinds of stuff. So I'm not like married to only one ship, one anime, like one little subset of anything. So I don't want anyone to feel that there's anything exclusive about that. And then I always try to also like respond to everybody who's talking to me as best that I can and like have it be like a very like welcoming kind of environment. So I don't want anyone to think that like I don't want any kind of stuck up energy happening because again, we are here because of cartoons. You know what I mean? It's like they're
Yeah.
cartoons. So like we have to be serious here. Like be for real.
Yeah.
Like we're here to have fun. So why are you not acting like you're having a fun time? That's how I feel
Yeah.
sometimes when I look it up to people. I'm like, if you're not having a fun time, I'm confused.
I feel that like so hard because it's like you just want there's so much shit going on in the world. Like, why
Yeah.
shouldn't the space that we have online just be a breath of fresh air? It should be somewhere
Uh,
that you enjoy
yes.
and that I enjoy. Like, first and foremost, me. I
Same.
should be enjoying this space. And then I want other people to do the same.
If I have one thing that I'm dedicated to in like making my own community and my own platforms is that we make content that we like and we talk about content that we like and we do not dedicate excessive amount of times to actively seeking out content we don't like because that is what stupid. We don't do that. We fun here.
Do you have anything that's in the works for 2023?
Yes. So I've been making peekaboo stickers, which I think you are familiar with. So I've been doing these little stickers, which are meant to go like water bottle on your laptop, wherever, and the little character peeks up at you. So the first collection I did was Haikyuu, obviously, and I've done a couple since then. I've done JJK, I've done Skate the Infinity because their new season got announced. But this year, what I am going to try and do is do a full collection of Genshin characters because I know people love Genshin.
Yeah.
I did one as like a commission. Somebody wanted it like Diluc. And so I did that one as a special one. And I was like, God, this is really cute. I really like this. So I've been hesitant to do Genshin fan art just because their outfits are so intricate. I drew Kaya one time in a commission and I was like, this is the most exhausting thing I have ever drawn in my life because their outfits are so involved. Everything is so detailed. So I'm like, oh, so I've always shied away from like doing like actual serious fan art of them, but the peekaboos are so stylized and so simple that it feels like the most accessible way for me to actually do any substantial amount of Genshin fan art. So sometime within the next couple months, ideally, I'm going to start on that. And it's going to be a pretty big collection because I try to do as many characters as I can. My original Haikyuu one was 30 characters. I know Genshin has a lot, and every character in Genshin has like some very intense rabid fan base behind it. So I don't want to like leave anybody out, like from what I know.
I haven't gotten to Genshin yet, but I do know that I love Ito. We love a big himbo.
Yeah, we do.
I will definitely be getting an Ito peekaboo because
I'm excited to draw. I'm excited to draw because I do like the character designs. They're so beautiful. They're interesting. They're all really different from each other. So I'm excited to do them. But I also have not gotten into Genshin, and that has been on purpose because I know that if I play it, I'll probably like it too much. And now that we are back in our corporate era, I'm like, I don't have the time for that. But I do enjoy and consume a lot of fan art that comes across my page, and I'm always so impressed by people who their entire fandom experience is drawing Genshin fan art, because it's intimidating to me. I draw a volleyball boy in his outfit and I'm like, whoo, today drained me. And they're drawing like 5 Genshin characters in the same piece, and it's like hyper rendered. I'm like,
yeah. Where can people find you online?
You can find me on TikTok, spicyamburrito. And then on the rest of my handles, it's Amburrito art. So I have Tumblr, I have Twitter, and I have Instagram, and they are all Amburrito art.
Yay. Well, thank you again for joining me today and being the kickstart to our 2023 Fandom Friends season, I guess. And thank you again. I love you and I love your art so much. I love it. So thank you, and thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Bye.